Okay, everybody, welcome to our Chat with the Hat chat. Tonight, we've got a great interview here with an absolute champion and a legend of Bathurst, Tony, from one half of Musos on the Chase. These two legends, him and his mate Shane, turn up since 2014 with their own instruments to put on a gig for all the campers to come down to their campsite to bring a chair, bring a story, bring your beers. There's no other real entertainment on the mountain apart from whatever we make for ourselves. And these two entrepreneurs, these two absolute musical legends, decided to put a stop to that, started doing their own gigs. And so Thursday and Friday nights down at the Chase campground, everyone's welcome. Come on down and say hello, especially this year being the 60th anniversary of Bathurst. So it's going to be a big one. Every man, his dog should be there. Don't bring your dog. And let's get it straight into it. So welcome, Tony.
Hey, Dave. How you going, mate?
Mate, I'm fantastic. Just waiting for some
living
racing to happening. We've been a long break between rounds so far.
Yes, it's good to get back. It's good to have a bit of racing back and see who's going to take out the championship for 2023.
Oh, that'll be Erebus, I'm sure.
I'll behave. Big consideration.
I've got my money on Brady and Will this year. So
yeah. So it's anyone's game, eh? It's new cars, new generation, and they're still, as we all know, they're still mucking around with the parity, getting all the cars equal. And I think it's going to take quite a few more rounds to get all that worked out.
Yeah, I don't think they're too far away from it, though. I think they're pretty damn close at the moment. So there's not a great deal of tweaking left to be done. Be more worried about the repairability of the cars, not so much who's got more straight line speed at the moment, because everyone's pretty equal. But if you have a tangle or a bingle, you're in a bit of strife at the moment.
Yeah, especially the availability of parts.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. It's all for us just to sit back and watch. I'm glad it's not my bank account, I'll tell you. All right, buddy. So you and your mate Shane kicked this idea off. So tell us how that all came about.
Yeah, Shane, him and his wife Jolene, they've been going to Bathurst for a few years before we actually went down. And myself as a young fella, used to get up early in the morning and watch Bathurst religiously every year. And I've always dreamed of going to Bathurst one day. And we'll talk a little bit more about Shane later. But Shane said, look, we go to Bathurst, come down with us. And I said, oh, yeah, sweet. I said, well, how do you go about doing it? And he said, well, you just got to get your camp, your ticket, and everything like that. And we done that in 2012. I think that was the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, I think it was. 50th. I was there. I got the shirt.
Yeah, right. Cool. And we didn't do music that year. And we were both sitting around having a few beers, as you do down at Bathurst. Like, why don't we get our guitars out and just strum a few tunes around the campfire? And we done that. And like we said, well, why not next year we set our PA up and just have people come around? And we were quite surprised. We had quite a few people bring the camp chairs, the eskies and snacks and whatever. And we didn't do money for charity that year. And it was the following year in because it didn't go down 2014, 2015, I think we raised money for charity. And we had a good, the patronage was really good. And we raised about $584, I think, for Burrum Buttock hay runners for the drought appeal.
Oh, yeah, yep.
And ever since that day, like, we've been doing it ever since. And it's just been getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we've got sponsorship on board now, thanks to John Bow. I'm looking into a few other names. Hopefully they'll get on board. We've got the Bathurst Butcher Shop, Liquorland in Bathurst. and a few other places that are on board supporting charity, which is cancer.
Yeah, well, it's more research we can do to that. Pick a flavor. There's too much of it going around.
Oh,
So everybody's been touched with it. Everybody's got a story. There's not a single
yeah.
person I know that doesn't, myself included. So it's all a fantastic idea. Not to mention, so how many crew do you get around there at the moment? You're getting 50 people, 100 people, 200 people rolling up to your camp at the moment?
Well, the first year we done it, we had probably about 10 people. The following year we done it, it doubled, and now we're getting probably 100, 150 people, and that's
That's
just
good.
around that. That's not including all the people sitting at the camps
Yeah, true.
listening as well.
Yeah, and that's a fair crowd. That's awesome. I know a lot
Yeah.
of bands in Melbourne that are starting out would love to see 100 people turn up when
Uh,
they got the 8 o'clock slot,
yeah, no, it just gives you a buzz, Dave. Like when you see people out there coming along supporting charities such as cancer, because as you said before, everyone's lost a family member, a mate, even animals, your dogs, your cats, and all that through cancer. And to me, it means a lot to myself and family in that. And we need to find a cure for cancer. And this is our way of contributing to that cause.
So that's the that's the reason that you guys are actually continuing to push, drag all your instruments up, your PA, setting it all up, doing it all for the love of it, and not just for the musical love, but for the social love of helping out your mates and making some
Exactly.
coin, which is
And it's good.
magnificent.
Like, and we just enjoy it so much. We have a beer during our brace. We go around, talk to people, and listen to their stories and how what they've coped with, went through. And some of the stories out there, like it just really rattles you, and it just drives you that more for the following year. Like let's raise, like say, $1,000, and every little bit helps, Dave, as you know.
Yep, yep, absolutely. So, what time do you kick off? Like, when do you do it?
Yeah, we usually kick off because like we respect other campers and they want to go to bed early. Although that's the case down there. There's good luck with that.
Yeah, not on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and no holds barred, mate. Saturday night, yeah, sure. Everyone's in bed by 7 o'clock. Not really, but
Yeah,
yeah.
we usually kick off 6, finish about 10, bit after 10.
Oh, so you go for about 3-4 hours.
Yeah, like you got to do your encore and all that, and all that.
Have a few
like
beers, have a chat.
yeah, do the gambler again, or wagon wheel, or some bloody thing. It's just, although you've probably played the gambler twice that night, it's just one of those tunes that just seem to get asked over and over again.
And it's a sing along. Every man and his dog's having a sing.
Sweet Caroline's another one.
Ah, old faithful.
Like, yeah, the list just goes on and on.
Well, that was my next question. What type of music are you actually ripping out?
Yeah, we mainly do covers. We tried to do originals, but you really got to have a kick-ass, in-your-face original tune to have impact. So we thought we'd do covers, which ranges from Slim Dusty, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, through the Aussie pub rock, In Excess, Mental as Anything, Choir Boys, Queen, and even a bit of Hank Marvin and the Shadows, a big group from England in the 60s.
Oh, mate, you got a bit of everything for everybody.
Oh, we try to.
I'm there for the Aussie pub rock, I'll tell you, straight up.
Yeah.
Choir Boys, Run to Paradise. You'll be sitting up the front, losing my mind. So who were your musical influences when you were growing up?
Mate, my musical influences had a lot to do with my father. He had a lot of old records like Pat Boone, Hank Lachlan, Hank Marvin and the Shadows, the Seekers, Judith Durham. And I used to play them records over and over and over. And I said, I want to be a guitar player. And when Dad was at work, I had to stand on his bed to get top of his cupboard because I couldn't reach. And he had this like book, a chord book. And I got his guitar out, and I think the first chord I played was D, and D, A, and G. I think I was told to play DAG, so DAG, and I got all that down, and then the bar chords came into it, and I just really got frustrated. I nearly threw the damn thing out the window, and I just persevered with it. And a good mate of mine who's no longer with us, Ricky Ship, he said, look, we all get to a wall. You just got to persevere and keep punching that wall. You'll get through it. And now I'm here talking to you about what I'm doing down in the Chase with Shane Spears, Musos on the Chase, raise money for cancer and enjoying life.
Thank you very much for doing that too, because apart from me just cranking my own tunes on my little radio when I'm down there in the campsite, now I've got somewhere to go and gravitate and have an actual live gig, which is one of my most favorite nights out. I go to as many as I can all through the year. Very different, eclectic taste of music, but you're right in my hitting zone down there with 100 or more of my close personal mates down at the mountain having a night out. It's an absolute cracker.
Just bring Yeski.
I'll have the esky. Don't stress, mate. And do not leave anywhere on the mountain without it. It's you've been playing in any other bands? I know you do this is the Bathurst thing. So where do you play when you're not at Bathurst?
Yeah, well, years ago, myself, Dad, and a good mate of ours, Andrew Crow, we formed Smoky Ridges, and we're a local 3-piece band in Warwick, and we played for a good couple of years, and the bass player Andrew, he went his way, and after Smoky Ridges, I think I joined a band called Left Turn, another Warwick band. There's myself, John Swanston Jr., Michael John Roundhill, and Samantha Dempsey. And we done one gig, and I'm not going into details, but the first gig we done, it was a ball terror. It was really good. We were ready to hit the road and ready to tour. And that fell by the wayside. Then Blue Rain came along after done sound at O'Mahony's Hotel in Warwick for Chad Morgan and Shane Howard from Goanna. A bloke is there called Gary Tunis, and he's looking for another guitarist for his band, Blue Rain. And he approached me, and I was part of Blue Rain. And Gary Tunis left the band, and Shane Spears, he came in. He filled in for Gary for a couple of years. And after a few years of probably 12 months, 18 months, I suppose, is with Blue Rain, we formed a band called Wanted Dead or Alive, me and Shane Spears. And we were together for probably 5-6 years. We used to do gigs around Warwick, Pittsworth, Toowoomba, Lake Leslie Tourist Park, which is 10k west of Warwick. And then we sort of, because me and my wife wanted to start traveling, and then I went on my own, formed Classic Tones, and that's what I do when we're not playing together. I go on a bit of a tour, just doing fundraising outside of Bathurst, just just do a bit of a tour and head back down to Bathurst to do it all over again, the chase.
That's fantastic, bud. That's
Hope all that made sense.
no, it's you've been doing it for a while, mate. I'm not surprised you got like a collection of bands as long as your arm. Every man and his dog wants to have a go, have a bit of a play, get around and do a bit of tour. So you get around now, do a bit of touring?
Yeah, mate. We're currently in Jeringa. That's 100 odd K west of Rockhampton.
Yeah, rightio.
I'm doing
Much going on out there.
Yeah, I'm doing a fundraising thing here on the 28th of next Friday night, actually, 28th. Then we go to Dingo, Bluff, and we turn around out of Kainoona and come back and start heading back down south to Bathurst.
Yeah, it's fair. Yep, that's a nice little
we're just traveling in a caravan and all that.
Living the dream.
Yeah. Is my picture still coming through pretty good, bud?
Yeah, still see you there. It's getting a little bit dim behind you. It looks like the sun's starting to set. Cockatoo's going to kick off soon.
Yeah. Yeah, the train line's just behind me there, so you'll probably hear a train or two come flying through.
Oh, that's all right. It only taken 20 minutes to get past.
Yeah, coal trains. Yeah,
they're not short. It's not
No.
like there's 6 bogies and then you're done. Stop at all stations. So yeah, so the what do you play? Like what's your rig? What guitars you got? How many 1600 guitars have you got?
Mate, I'd love to have more guitars, but my wife says, nah, it's divorce if you do. I play an Ernie Ball Music Man Silhouette. The Silhouette is an American built guitar. Leo Fender had a bit of input into it. Leo Fender was part of Fender Guitars.
Yeah.
And when Leo Fender left Fender, he went over to Music Man. And Ernie Ball and Leo Fender got together and they come up with the Silhouette, which that was back in '86, I think. The one I'm playing is a '96. And Phil Emanuel, any guitarist out there would know who Phil Emanuel was. He actually owned the guitar.
Yeah.
And he signed it.
Really?
Yes.
It's one of his guitars.
Yeah. How that come about?
How'd you score that?
I bought the guitar second hand at Owen Ray International Music in Toowoomba. And down when we're down in Parks at the Elvis Festival, Phil Emanuel's down there doing guitars of the era. And because I was good friends with him, he's departed now. I was good friends with him and said, look, any chance of doing a tune with you on stage? And he said, absolutely. And here I am in the sound check on stage with Phil Emanuel, like one of the greatest guitarists the world's ever seen, you know?
Yeah.
And he said, I've only got one guitar. I said, well, I've got a guitar out in the car. He said, well, go and grab it. And he opened up and he couldn't believe his eyes. He said, wow. He said, where'd you buy this? I said, Owen Ray International Music. And that's where Phil Emanuel actually bought it from. And I said, well, can you sign it? And he said, yeah, no worries. I was going to get it out, but maybe if we have another podcast, I'll get the guitars out. A second guitar I play is an Outback Telecaster, which they're built in Toowoomba, Queensland. And I play all that through a Boss ME80, and the sound comes out through a Fender Mustang GT 200.
Yeah, right.
And I got an Outback acoustic as well, but I don't really do acoustic that much. But I do on the odd occasion.
Oh, well, it's all right. It's your show, mate. If the mood takes you, the mood takes you. Nobody else is getting up there. Right. Well, that's a fantastic intro and explanation of exactly what you guys are doing. And you'll be there ready for 60th anniversary this year with your bells on. You got anything
Yep.
special lined up for this year's set list being the 60th anniversary, or just going to keep going with the
Yeah.
300 lots of the gambler because nobody else, everyone's still singing it?
Oh, we got a few new tunes lined up. Like it's still a work in progress because Bathurst is still a fair way away, but on the other hand, it's not too far away at all. Uh,
Well, if you've got to fill 3 hours worth of tracks, it's not like it's a 15 set list, 15 song set list, and then you're done, you know.
oh no, no, like
You got 3 hours to fill, 4 hours.
yeah, like I sit down like the week before, do my set list, grab all the songs that I think will go over, and then I sort of pick one, two, three, and try and do it in order.
Mm,
But that never works.
no.
So I just sort of go with the flow, like whatever's happening at the time, whatever they're into.
Yeah.
I sort of zone in on that because you don't want to be doing the same songs where it's not hitting the spot.
No, you got to read the room.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yeah, mint. Um, so who do you follow in supercars? Let's find out a bit about you. Who's your team, or do you not have a
Oh,
team, or do you have a
mate, now
driver?
that's
Or
silly. That's a silly question, mate.
that's a good
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
I like
Dick
that
Johnson,
question.
mate. Dick Johnson, all the way, Queensland boy.
No, that's a silly answer. See, it wasn't a silly
Yeah,
question.
mate. I've been following Dick Johnson. I didn't. I followed him in his XC days, but I never really started following him seriously until, say, the XD,
Mm-hmm.
then the XE, and all that. And I still follow Dick Johnson racing to this day, like his son Stephen
Mm-hmm.
and Steve's son Jet. Like he's a third generation Johnson coming up through the ranks, and I tell you what, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with
He's
in a
going
few
well.
years.
He's learning his craft pretty quickly, Jet. He knows where he's
Oh,
starting to learn where to put the car
absolutely,
now. So he's getting confident
absolutely.
every track. He's getting more confident.
Yep.
Kid's fast too. He's got some pace on him.
Yeah. I like Craig Lowndes. Like to me, Lowndes is just he's salt of the earth. Like he's a people's person, and he'll talk to anyone. Like me and my son went to Queensland Ipswich Raceway, and we got in there and we were talking to him for 5-10 minutes, and it's just so personal.
Yep.
And I couldn't thank him enough for that. And that's what touched my heart. Like if he can take time to talk to people, because at the end of the day, the drivers get somewhere because of people like us that support them.
They do. And Craig learnt that lesson loud and clear from Peter Brock back in the young days.
Absolutely, he's another bloke I wish I had met.
And Peter knew the importance of respecting and appreciating the people who follow you, whether they're in your corner or they're not, or they just say hello, they want to chat or a quick autograph or something. For that individual, for that fan, for that person, that might be the only time they ever get to meet their hero, and it might only be a fleeting engagement. And that driver might not remember that person in 5 years' time if they see them a second time. But that single person will remember that meeting for the rest of their life.
Absolutely.
And they will spread their experience with you to everybody far and wide. And if it's a good one, you're now becoming a mythological hero. If it's a bad one, you're now becoming an absolute bastard that nobody wants to know.
Yeah.
So Craig learnt that lesson. I've watched Craig leave the back of the 888 garage and have to go to the back of the transporter. And we're talking Sandown, and we're talking only about 6-7 meters. It's taken him 15 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
Where there have been other drivers walking out of that garage and they put their head down and they just barrel through their own fans who are wearing their own merchandise with children,
Yeah.
8, 9, 10-year-old kids wearing their jerseys with their numbers on it. And they don't stop. They don't talk. They're more important. They've got things to do. They've got to get to the truck. Craig's got things to do too, but it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that he just barges through everybody. He stops,
No.
takes a photo with everybody. It might just be a 5 or 10-second moment because he really is in a rush. He has places to be. But he makes sure that everybody that's there as he's going along the way goes with him and gets as much as they can get done just in that
Yeah.
6 meter period. It takes him 10 minutes to get to the transporter.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of respect for a person like that because everybody wants a piece of him because he's so well liked. It's impossible for him to go anywhere because he's always been
Yeah.
swamped. And he takes it with grace as well. He doesn't lose his
Yeah.
rag. He doesn't get upset and frustrated. He understands the position that he's in. And he also understands and empathizes with the fans from their perspective as well.
Yeah.
So, all respect to those type of people in the eye that actually empathize with their fans and don't have that arrogance in them and can appreciate, like you said, without the fans, then they could easily be walking. The minute people stop talking about you and wanting to take your photo, then you're already gone too far.
Well, that's what we find when every year we set up down there. Like we have people from the previous year come over, catch up, and shake hands and have a good old yarn and like because
That's how friendships are forged on the mountain.
100%, mate, 100%. And like I may not remember their face, but once we start talking, it's just like it was yesterday. I was talking to them, and that means a lot to us that we've made their day and night if they can take the time to come back and see us again. And that's our aim to do is please people and make their night more enjoyable. Last year we had a guy donate wood. He lost a family member due to cancer, and that was earlier in the year, I think. And he said, "Mate, look, I'm no longer doing the wood," but he said, "Oh, this is how our people down Bathurst work." He said, "Look, I'll go and get you a ton of wood out of my own pocket because you guys are doing such a worthy thing, raising money for cancer." He said, "I'll donate a ton of wood." Here comes the train.
Hey, here comes the coal train.
yeah, bloody thing. And
and that's not Dave Taylor, by the way.
Yeah. And I said, "I appreciate that." And he said, "But you got to do lice on the hill, Slim Dusty." I said, "Absolutely, mate, not a problem." And he said that's for a family member that he lost. That he told me this last year. He couldn't be long because he had a family member crook with cancer, and they end up dying earlier this year. So
yeah,
and that really sort of pulled the heartstrings, like it really hits home, close to home. Like he's the guy that gave us wood, and you just don't realise how far cancer is from yourself or loved ones,
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. And there's thousands, millions of people around the world that are doing their little bit. Like you say, every little bit. You add them all together, it's a big bit, and they're doing it in whatever way they can. Your personal skills, yours and Shane's, your ability and your skill is in music. So rather than just shaking tins at a traffic light or selling chocolates or whatever else, whatever other fundraising, doing art, making pictures and trying to sell them or whatever, raffles. You guys are putting on a gig. You're putting on 2 gigs, 2 nights for everyone to come down, bring some cash, bring some coin. You're getting a meat tray. Bathurst boys lobbing you a meat tray to give away or something this year.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I'm hoping to have three meat, like 2 meat trays and 2 meat trays, hopefully 2 breakfast trays.
Sounds like a great idea. I mean, you couldn't have found any 2 better sponsors like steaks, sausages, and beer. Like, come on, Liquorland and Butchers. What more do you need for Bathurst?
Yeah, whack the bacon on.
Yeah, that's it. Last year you needed to get gumboots and tarps, but
yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't much fun last year. It's a bit of a punish.
Oh, mate, I don't even want to go there. Like it was just I've never seen rain like it. Like like we could talk for hours about what it was like last year. Like where we were camped, we were pretty good because the water ran downhill from us. But some of the campsites here, like, it's just slosh. And I don't know how people like even walked around the camp like without
We were ankle
slipping
deep.
over, you know?
We were ankle deep in it. It looked like a stockyard. It just turned to just like all the grass had gone and the soil and the mud was so saturated that it just turned into like porridge. And everyone was just walking around ankle deep in it. Once you're already wet and you're covered in mud, well, it doesn't really matter. Everyone's in the same boat. So we just ended up partying. It's just couldn't do anything else about it. Like, what are you going to do? Pack up and go home? No, no way.
Yeah, that's right, eh? It's just crazy. And we were lucky enough the gods answered our prayer. Like I was thinking, like, just give us one day so we can do one show at least. And Thursday night, uh, the clouds disappeared and
Yeah, it was a
stars appeared,
Thursday
and
night was the only night. Yeah,
yeah, mate, and it's just as if someone up there was say, well, let the boys put the show on, you know, and it turned out to be a really good night. We raised $534 last year,
perfect.
and it's only $500, but mate,
It's not just only $500, mate. It's $500 they don't have.
oh,
That's the difference.
I shouldn't have said it like that.
No, no,
Like,
I didn't mean to take it that way
yeah,
either. But
yeah,
like your $500 worth, and then that guy's $500, and the bloke around the back's got $1,000. All those little
yeah,
pieces add up to one big piece, and then all of a sudden it's millions of dollars. It's not.
yeah, 100%.
It's how it works. So,
Small fish is big fish, you know.
yeah,
And hopefully this year we can hit 600. You know, if we don't, it all adds up. You know, it goes into a big pot. It all goes into cancer research.
yeah. So well, we're gonna let people know. Just bring some notes down. You know, bring your coins. Bring those little placky bags and stuff. They've got all that junk change that you haven't used for 15 years because no one's got coins anymore. Just bring all that stuff down and lob it in the bucket and bring some notes down and chuck them in the bucket because they're just taking up space in your wallet because no one uses cash anymore.
Grand around the floor of your car and your back seat.
Down the back of the couch. You probably found yourself. You probably got a $20 note in your wallet you've had there for 2 years that you haven't even noticed.
If anyone's like me, there'd probably be $100 in coins in that back seat of my car.
Yeah, exactly.
And what better reason to clean it out and donate to cancer, you know?
100%. You might get yourself a meat tray and then be sorted out for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah. Just let us know when you fire the barbie up. We'll bring the esky around.
That's just the standard rules for Bathurst. I just wander campsite to campsite to campsite. The later it is, the more fires go out. But 2-3 o'clock in the morning, I'm still bouncing in and out of people's campsites because they're still huddled around their fire quietly, just having, a quiet chat and whatever. I can't remember how many people I've met up on the mountain. You end up coming home the next day and you got all these new names in your phone and they all say the same thing, Robbo, Bathurst. 5 years later, you go through the phone. Who the it's Robbo? It's obviously from Bathurst, but so is the other 45 people in my phone that weren't there last week. So,
I do the same thing and put the name in from Bathurst, and you're scratching your head like who the hell is like Patrick? Like, where did I meet him? Then eventually you remember.
Eventually,
you put in your memo or your notes who that person is, so you can go back and say, "Yep, that's such and such from Bathurst."
Yeah, and I've got to put like a little qualifier in there, maybe something we were talking about or something like that, just to jog the memory. Because usually at the time when I've met the individual, I'm not really remembering a great deal the next day anyway. So it's 2:30 in the morning. We've been started since racing stopped. So
no, good times down there, mate. Good times, and I still hope to be doing what I'm doing with Shane and his lovely wife, Jolene, down Bathurst for another 10, 15 years. Like,
Is she in the band too? Does she sing or play?
Sings out. She's with my wife. She sings out of this. That's about it.
You got a heckler. You got your own hecklers.
Yeah, no, they bring us the beers and all that. And,
you got roadies.
And yeah, and they're just our loyal supporters. Like they help us with people that want to buy raffle tickets to go into the prizes that we get together.
Yep.
And they go and count the money up and all that. So, like, they do play an important role. Like, they're there to support us, you know, and
yeah,
and we love them with all our heart, and you can't expect much more of them. Like, they're there for us, and we're there for them.
Yep. No man's an island. So
no, exactly.
Yeah, without the good woman behind you or beside you, then we wouldn't get a half our crap done because we'd be too lazy. We wouldn't. We'd just find an easy way and a shortcut. We wouldn't actually bother to put the effort in.
Am I still coming through pretty good?
You are, mate. Yeah, I can see it. It's all gone dark behind you, but you're bright and shiny. So you can still see your shiny face. So
that's sweet.
That's all good. That train shot through pretty quickly, to be honest. It might not have been a full coal train, that one. It might have been
it might have been empty.
Just a little city transport.
Heading back to Emerald.
Yeah. Yeah. So what else? What else we got to talk about? You're a Dick Johnson fan. Not everybody can be a winner. So where do you prop and watch the racing when you're up there? Where's your favorite spot,
mate? Like, from the very first day we went to Bathurst, it's always the final corner before the start.
Murray's line. Down at Murray's Corner.
Yeah. We sit on the bank there.
Near the ridges.
The first year we were there, they didn't have that fence up, that big metal fence.
Yeah.
And it was really good. You get sort of a little bit closer. But yeah, but no, that's where we sit. Like, we go behind Merchandise Alley.
Yep.
Go behind the pits, sort of line up. Like, you just forget the first couple of pit bays because you're not going to get any unless you're there 3 hours beforehand.
Yeah, true.
Like, we just get the lesser known drivers. Like, I got Jack LeBrock years ago when he's in the Dunlop Series, Super 2s.
Mm-hmm.
Like Scotty McLaughlin. Like, I was lucky enough to meet him before he become like a household name.
That was the GRM days, yeah? The Volvo days.
When he's with Gary Rogers.
Rogers, yeah.
And
before he got poached by the captain.
Yep.
Over to your mob.
And I managed to meet Roger Penske the year before he left and headed back over to America. And I said, "Hey, Roger, can I get a photo with you?" He said, Sure, mate. And I was really stunned. Like, he's such a down-to-earth guy, and he didn't mind a photo at all.
Well, he knows his place as well. He's at his personal, private, favorite place, a racetrack. He loves them so much, he just buys them. He buys race teams and he buys racetracks and he buys the entire Indy series. And then he bought in with Dick to save his bacon because Dick's racing empire was on its knees. It was about to go belly up again. And without the investment from Roger, which turned DJR completely around, lifted them up with capital, lifted them up with personnel, lifted them up with standards and professionalism. And I mean, I don't know how many zeros was on the back of that check to get Ludo to jump from 888 over to DJR, but that was an absolute coup because we all thought, like, everybody just assumed that Ludo was going to be there until he died. Like, Roland was never going to let him go. He's just the winning formula. He is that piece of the jigsaw. And then we have Shane and we had Craig and they had Jamie. And these were the pieces and the best engineers and Dutto and McPherson and all that. They had the team as a unit. And then all of a sudden, What do you mean Ludo's gone to Dick Johnson? How did that
Yeah,
happen?
he's a funny character, the little French fella. Like, have you ever had a conversation with him?
Oh yeah. Oh, he yelled at me. He, I was like a 10-year-old. I was like a naughty 10-year-old. This is Bathurst a couple of years ago. We sort of snuck down to the pits when they were still bumping in because we were camping in the paddocks. We got there the Saturday before, and mate and I kind of escorted ourselves in through an open gate while they were still offloading trailers. Some of the transporters hadn't even turned up yet. This I think was like when Tuesday or something, and I was talking to Anton De Pasquale down outside his transporter outside the garage. And Anton used to drive for Erebus with us, so we've already known each other for a few years before he jumped over and became a shell driver. So we're catching up, having a chat. Ludo sticks his head out of the transporter, yells at both of us like we were naughty kids. He goes, "You get in the truck. You no more talking." And we both looked at each other. Anton's just jumped in one step into the back of the truck, didn't even touch the two steps on the ladder. And I just turned around with the mate and we went, "See ya." And we just tore off. Ludo just bailed us up straight away in his little angry Frenchman accent. And because I had to go do their driver track walk with the team. And yep. yeah, didn't even get to say goodbye. Just like Anton and I looked at each other, our eyes went like dinner plates, and then he jumped into the truck and I just jumped out. I just ran away.
Yeah.
Uh,
You mentioned the track walk, like a lot of like when I watch Bathurst on TV, like it's so deceiving. Like when I first walked the track, I thought the start line was flat, but like it's uphill the whole way until you get up near McPhillamy Park, I think.
Yes, once you get past the cutting and you think you're almost there and your legs are burning and you're looking at those big towers, the transmission towers at the top, and you think you're almost there, you turn that last corner and it's still going up to Reed, and you're going, yeah.
And like it's like when people watch this podcast, like if it's your first time down at Bathurst, do yourself a favour, as Molly Meldrum would say, do the track walk. You got to have your paddock pass and all that to do it, but you got to do the track walk. It's just something. It just gives you more appreciation to the drivers, like especially when they start going downhill. You cannot, like when you drive the track yourself.
Yeah.
When you can
going through Skyline.
Like you cannot see.
Nope.
And these guys are doing 200k an hour approaching there.
Yeah, we're doing 60.
and just turn right and just hope like hell, like there's nothing there, and you got the corner perfect, you know. Like, mate, like
it's you can't kind of explain it. The TV doesn't really do it justice.
No.
And watching other people do hot laps and squeal and giggle and just come out in sheer shock and awe. Like overseas, like those Yanks, when they come over, we chuck them in a car and give them a hot lap, and they just can't get their head around it. They just think it's the most insane thing they've ever been on. And when you drive it yourself, like you do during the year when it's open, and you walk it at night, and it's an 8-can walk, by the way,
at least
minimum, and that's at a fair stop. You're not stopping a great deal. You stop at Skyline, sign Brocky Skyline, and then you keep moving.
Yep.
But yeah, it's one of those experiences you need to see for yourself, because you honestly, the first year I did it, walking up Mountain Straight up to the cutting, like, oh my God, okay, we're still going up. And then on the way down at Conrod, it's like, man, it's almost as bad going down. Like you just want to like roll down the thing because it's steep coming down the other side, but you're trying to pull yourself up. Plus, you've already had 8 beers and you're trying to get back down to the paddock. So and you got to dodge those lunatic bus drivers and like doing the shuttle runs, and dudes on skateboards and riding wheelie bins down, and big wheels, and kids on scooters.
Like before we went down, like we went around the Shane Jolene's place, and I said, Jolene, I'll race you up the dipper. And this is before I even walked the track. And she said, yep. I said, I'll shout you a can of rum. And she said, we shook on it. And I got down there and I turned around and said, mate, there's no way in hell I'm.
Here's your can.
Oh, yeah. But I still haven't given her the can yet. She keeps telling me it's now up to a carton. So,
You got to, yeah, it's interest, mate. You got to pay your bills.
oh, well, this is right. But you got to do the track walkers and sign Peter on Rocky Skyline there.
Sign up the top.
It's just something you got to do.
Yep, it's a thing. It's an absolute thing. Well, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you tonight. We will be talking again before Bathurst comes up. I will make sure of this. We'll catch up during the year, and we'll actually, when you got a few more things buttoned down, very keen to be hanging out at your camp on Thursday and Friday this year.
Mate, you're more than welcome, buddy.
Oh, look, appreciate it. I'll be one of the hundreds that'll be there, no doubt. And I'll bring my coin with me. I've got my bags, got my placky bags full of all the goldies that I'm not using. So there's easily a couple $100 there sitting there doing nothing. So I don't gamble. I don't put them in the pokies. So I'll give them to you and put them in your bucket. Let you drag the weight around. So, thank you very much for telling us what you do and how you do it. I'm pretty sure everyone's now got a great understanding of what's happening. If you've never heard of Musos on the Chase, or this is your first time at Bathurst, tell everybody exactly where you're camping so we can all come down and party.
Yeah, mate. If people want to check us out, go on Facebook, type Musos on the Chase, and you'll find like a little bit about us and photos and all that. Now, to find us where the two concerts actually held is site 738 and 739 in the Chase campground.
Awesome. I'll put that in the show notes as well on Spotify. When people are downloading, they can read. I'll write all that down as well with the links to Musos on the Chase Facebook page and site 738, 739 at the Chase, which is down on the outside of the circuit, coming down just past the actual point of the Chase.
Behind the Hilton
Ridges.
I think it's the Ridges.
Yeah, the Ridges Hotel. Yeah, the Ridges Hotel, that little campground just on at the back of the Ridges Hotel there. So wander down, bring your chair, bring your rescue, bring your money, bring a sense of fun because we're going to rock out. It's going to be a party. It's not a sit down concert by any stretch of the imagination, but you're more than welcome to sit. This is a gig.
I meant to mention earlier when we were talking about the shows down there. We had one bloke actually. From Camp Drink a Lot, I think it was. They're a big camp up on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was those guys that actually bought the whole fire pit with them.
They brought the fire pit?
Yeah, they had 2-star pickets in there and they were dragging this bloody huge...
Oh, that's mad.
I said, Shay, look at these mad bastards. Like, I said, well, that's dedication. Like,
I call it smart.
Oh, exactly. Like
just bring the fire with you.
Yeah.
Because we do know it can get a little bit chilly on the mountain up there in October.
Yeah, it sure can.
If it's BYO fire, you guys are just on top. You're on point. So jam a couple of star pickets through the drum and go for a walk.
Yeah. Mate, if people like, you can donate now. If you go on the Musos on the page, Musos on the Chase page, get it right. You'll see our Do It for Cancer concert by Musos on the Chase, and just
that's the blue and yellow post you put up the other day.
Yeah, and that should take you to a donation page where it has $25.50, and you hit one of those, then you just got to put your bank details in, and Cancer Council then debit that money out of your bank.
Beautiful. I'll add that to the show notes as well so people can get involved already. You don't have to wait. If you can't make it to Bathurst, let's face it, not everybody can. And you still can get involved. Now, I wouldn't be surprised, mate. I'll talk to you about this a bit later. We haven't actually talked about this yet. It's just an idea. But when we're up there on the Thursday night, I reckon we should go Facebook Live on your page.
Yeah, well, that's an idea.
Literally just set up a phone and we just hit go Facebook Live, and then you can stream it.
Yeah, The only problem there, like I've got no problem with it. It's just it comes back to copyright.
Not really. Not
Like,
really. Not in this instance. Not in this instance. We'll talk about it off air, but you're allowed to have fair
mate.
use.
Yeah.
You're allowed to have fair use. So
And
you're not
charity.
You're not making an album and selling it. Put it that way. So every cover band in every pub in all over the world, when they were worrying about like Spotify and everybody else getting paid and then not getting album sales and not getting royalties, then they were talking about cover bands potential and like radio stations pay. But what about the lift music or the local milk bar that's got a radio going? Do they have to pay? Like, no, the radio station's paying.
Yeah,
what if they play?
Yeah.
What if they're playing a tape in a public? Like, is that broadcasting in a public space? Playing a CD on a CD player in a store? Like, is that broadcast? So everyone calmed down. Like 10 years ago, they all tried it in the courts and they all went, nah, this is just stupid. Pull your heads in. So no, you guys are good with that. But we'll worry about that on the time. Merchandise. I see you've got a little range of stuff people can actually get involved with and purchase to help raise some coin.
You must have been reading my mind, because that's what I was going to bring up myself. Merchandise. This is a thing that Shane and me sat down and thought about, like stubby coolers and bumper stickers and all this.
Yep.
But that may still happen. But I took it upon myself on behalf of Shane. I thought, well, let's come up with a T-shirt, because, like, let's face it, everyone wears shirts.
Yeah, they do.
And I found a design, and a good mate of mine, Graham Ernest from Brisbane. G'day, Graham, if you're watching this.
If you're not, Graham, we'll hunt you down. We'll find you.
Yes, he helped us design our logo, which is that one there. If you can sort of see a little bit of it. And we've been. This is the third year. We started doing it in 2021, 22, and this year we're going to have red for Holden, for the loyal Holden supporters, although Holden's still not out there. Blue for Ford, and a yellow goal for Chevy.
Yep, beautiful.
And people can get online, get on our Musos on the page, Musos on the Chase page, and just say, look, I want a shirt, $30 each. All profits from the shirts go straight to the Cancer Council of Australia for cancer research. If people want to see a letter of authority, like if we're legit, if we can legally do this, I can supply that. There's no worries.
Just post it on the page, mate.
Yeah. I'll just take a screenshot and just put it on the page.
Yeah, just pin it to the top of your page, and there's your letter of authority kind of thing. That makes you legit, in case people just think you're pocketing all the coin.
Yeah, and look, I don't blame people if they do query, because let's face it, like there's a lot of scammers out there.
Yeah, there's plenty out there.
Yeah.
No, you've got too big a profile to be a scammer, mate, and you are
too
legit.
Much booze, mate. Like,
you're one of the. You do, but you're also one of the honest ones and one of the good ones. So we love your work. We love what you guys are doing and the effort you put in, and you're doing it for us as well. Like you're doing it for everybody else, because we all know Bathurst do not put on entertainment for anybody who's camping. You stick there for 6 to 10 days and you're left to your own devices. So for a couple of blokes decide to put a show on just to keep yourselves entertained, and then it just grew into, you're now doing 2 nights, 2 gigs, hundreds of people are coming down, you're raising some coin, you got some sponsors, you got merch. I mean, mate, that's mountain life. That's awesome.
Exactly, mate. And just what better way to enjoy Bathurst around a campfire, music, and a beer.
Yeah, with mates having a gig.
And you had firework going off around the place.
No, we don't know. We don't know anything about fireworks. We know nothing about it.
Oh, mate, they say the fireworks aren't allowed, but I'll tell you what, they still get in somehow.
Oh, of course they do, mate. I know. I might even know a few blokes who are letting them off. So. Not like the old days when it was actually like a war. It was literally, it was tit for tat back in the early days, like well before 2012. I'm talking back in the 1900s and the early 2000s. It was out of control back then. It was loose. We'll have a conversation over a beer about that around the fire. That's for another day.
Mate, looking forward to it, Dave.
Yeah, no, we'll be catching up for sure. 100%. So thank you very much, Tony and everybody. So once again, that's Musos on the Chase at Facebook. So go check out the page. Click on the links if you can't make it to Bathurst. Get involved. Donate as if you are. So you bought your ticket basically. Buy your ticket to the show by donating to the Cancer Council Research Fund. So every little bit helps. Your $25 could be the difference. So help them out. I'll twist his arm. Might get some live streaming done. If we can't get live streaming done, I'll just record it and post it. He won't even know. So, so we'll catch up with you in October, mate. So good luck with the rest of your tour in the next few weeks, zooming around up in Queensland in the nice warm weather. And once again, look forward to meeting Shane too. Haven't had a chat with him yet, so we'll catch up with you boys up in October.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, Shane won't be there this year, unfortunately. His lovely wife's got a surprise birthday present from her mother, and their son's 21st, and their son's 18th happenings, and funds a little bit on the tight side this year. But 2024, he'll definitely be down there.
I'd just be trading in the family because you get heaps of coins, save some coin, and then you can go to Bathurst. I mean, they've just got all the timing wrong. It's like getting married on grand final day. Like,
if he can't make it, mate, just start training your vocal cords and.
Oh, you don't need me singing. I can give you the tip right now. That's why I pay my money. I pay to watch people who can. Yeah, don't you worry. I'm horrible. So you're gonna have Phil in? You got someone else coming with you? You got a ring in?
No.
You got a couple of months to find one then, haven't you?
I do the 4 hours sort of on my own sort of thing, and I enjoy every minute of it.
Oh well, we've got a solo. All right, we're gonna see Tony solo this year. It's even cruisier. Now you get to choose no fighting over the set list.
Well, that's right.
Cool. All right, mate. It's been a great chat. Great to finally have a meet up with you. So we will see you in October. That's everybody. Check out the socials. Check out the show notes. You can go to Spotify, and this will be posted onto YouTube. You can actually watch the clips. So under the YouTube channel, Chat with a Hat, all one word. We'll be putting all the links to Tony's page and donation funds. And if you want some merch, you want to get yourself a shirt, looking pretty mint, and just get in touch with him via Facebook. I'd say just send a direct message to Musos on the Chase with your size and your address, and you guys will sort it out. You know how to buy stuff. So
yeah, shirts won't be printed just yet.
That's all right.
Probably a month out. I want to start sort of taking orders now.
Yeah, get pre-orders so you know what to run for. Yeah,
and get the shirts printed, and I can post the shirts out, or like a lot of them pick the shirts up.
Pick them up
down there.
Pick them up at Bathurst, mate. That's the way you do it. All right. Thank you very much, Tony. We chatted for a great little time. So good luck up in Duringa. Just enjoy your rest of your night. Hope the Mozzies don't get you. And
no, they sort of settled down a little bit now.
Yeah, good to dark for them. All right, bud. All right, go light and put another log on the fire. Catch up with you then.
Okay, Dave. Thank you very much for having me on.
No good. Cheers, mate.
Yeah, cheers.